Alice Savino is the Executive Director of the Workforce Development Board. State and local workforce development boards serve as connectors between the U.S. Department of Labor and more than 2,500 local American job centers that deliver services to workers and employers. The Workforce Development Board's role is to develop regional strategic plans and set funding priorities for their area. The local Workforce Development Board is a link to the public workforce system. As one of their many functions, many workforce development boards facilitate partnerships between local businesses with similar training needs.
My name is Alice Savino, and I'm the Executive Director of the Workforce Development Board.
Alice came from a very supportive family, resulting in her leadership style to be very supportive also. Alice can be viewed as a leader that leads by example. She observed and experienced her father being very supportive towards her during her career path, so she does the same with the people that she hires. With the support and nurture that Alice gained from her family and surroundings, she was able to work hard and build the traits to become an effective leader. You must be an assertive leader to get things done, says Alice. One of the big 5 traits of effective leaders is urgency, which explains how the assertiveness trait ties into effective leadership. Alice values this trait, and she has her father to thank for encouraging her to never give up on her goals.
As a leader, I would have to say my father. I'm the oldest of 5 girls, and then there was a son. And both of my parents really, I mean, they always encouraged all of us to never question like what you could do, just try and do it. That there wasn't, no one ever said, well, you can't do that, or you have to follow this path. They were always very encouraging, which, and both of my parents had a college degree, and so, that wasn't necessarily the norm for the people that I grew up with. So it was, it was really the freedom to do that. Sometimes I took a little too much freedom, which they didn't appreciate, but I had to push the boundaries. But I always had a very, very supportive family.
Alice discusses that one of the main differences between working for a nonprofit organization as opposed to a private company is the amount of people she has to answer to. In the private sector, she was able to make her own decisions, and her ability to influence came from position power. It was this position power that helped her reach organizational objectives and ultimately become a leader. Working in the public sector, she now has both personal and position power. She is an executive director, which gives her position power in the sense that she influences those who work for her. However, her personal power is what makes her a leader among the other members of the board. Using the contingency theory, we can see how Alice's change in leadership style is based on the change in situation. More specifically, we can use the path-goal leadership model to conclude that her private sector job required her to have a more directive leadership style, and her current position requires her to have a more supportive and participative leadership style.
Not so much a change in leadership abilities. I guess there was. It took a lot of understanding the system. I wasn't in charge as much as I had been before. I was, people did not have to respond to me the same way that they had to in the private sector, where I was more in control of things and I could make decisions unilaterally. Whereas when you work for a not-for-profit and a board, you answer to a lot of people, and you have a lot of partners that are outside your realm of responsibility, but you have to work with them, and you can't, it isn't always my way. Frequently it's not. You really have to learn how, the leadership ability I think that's most tested would be compromise and patience. Making sure that other people's ideas are expressed, and that you're partnering with people.
Using Herzberg's 2-factor motivation theory and his idea that intrinsic motivators are the best motivators, we can see how Alice successfully motivates her employees. She uses job enrichment as a motivator by allowing her employees to develop themselves and their ideas through encouragement and increased responsibility. Allowing her employees to do what they want and do it well She is able to meet their higher level needs and ultimately make them better employees.
I try to let them go free. We have project directors and different projects that come up, and you try not to interfere too much. You listen to their ideas. You encourage them to do whatever their idea is, and you let them develop into what they will. I mean, you still have to make sure that there's good communications, but which isn't always easy, because some person might think, oh, there's nothing to do with that, but it actually wrecks 6 things down the chain. So you have to make sure there's good communications. But I think on the whole, if you trust people and you communicate with them and you just let them do what they were hired to do, then it works out 80% of the time.
Alice has both a democratic and laissez-faire style of leadership. She encourages people to participate and leads without having to closely supervise others. She trusts her employees and their ability to do their job. However, sometimes she thinks her employees would call her abrasive. She has a positive self-concept and falls somewhere between theory X and Y regarding her attitude towards leadership. Combining her attitude with the leader motive profile, we can see that she is an effective leader based on her theory Y attitudes and positive self-concept.
I think they'd say that I was straightforward, that possibly abrasive, but straightforward. I mean, I don't couch the message much, but I hope I'm honest. I hope I'm fair. We all have our own biases, and I do know what I want, and I'm usually pretty tough about looking for it. No, I mean, I try to be fair, though. I really, really try to be fair, and there's always special circumstances and things. It's hard, especially in this day and age, I think, because people generationally want other things. You read the articles, and the millennials want this, and and the baby boomers want this, and so they have different goals that they want out of work. I would say get out in the community as much as you can, but sometimes you have to be assertive to get things done.
Alice's balanced leadership style has led to a successful career built on trusting relationships and a drive to get things done. Through her work in the private sector and nonprofit arena, she has been able to adapt to new dynamics with her followers. Her recognition of the need for a leader's approach to be fluid and change to fit different situations is integral to her success. She demonstrates strong interpersonal skills and emphasizes the value in delegating tasks to others to help increase their value to the organization. She also encouraged us not to be afraid to be a little bit bossy, because sometimes we have to be assertive to get things done.